Welcome to Mixed Videos Online 2023.
Let me just speak from the heart, speak from my gut, and really not have anything prepared, but just tell you what's worked for me. And maybe some of the stuff that's worked for me might work for you now, currently, presently, as you guys have your goals and ambitions, NBA championship, MVPs in this room, things like that. But then further on down the line, as you guys continue to live your life. The first thing I would just want to say is this idea and this notion that you could be anything you want, and you can accomplish anything you want, right? We hear that. You've heard that from the time you were little boys. You hear that now. You're already incredibly accomplished. You can win an NBA championship, MVP of the league. You could become president. You could become governor. You could be in entertainment. You could do Charles, and you could do Shaq. You could do that. You could do whatever you want to do. You guys know that. The thing that has worked for me is to remember the hard times. So, and I'm sure you guys all have your processes. And again, I'm going to tell you what's worked for me. So before a big movie comes out, before, back in the days when I was wrestling with WWE, a WrestleMania match, anything big that would happen, I would always take a moment and I'd just remind myself, all right, I was evicted when I was 14. We were kicked off the island. We couldn't live in Hawaii, had no place to live. A lot of shit happened then when I moved to Nashville. I was arrested multiple times by the time I was 16 years old. Like, I remember that.
You know, we struggled a lot. There was a lot of struggling going on. My dad was very successful in his own right. He was a professional wrestler, so he was a local star at that time before the business of professional wrestling became global, if you will. But there was a lot of struggle, and watching them struggle and watching them pull through it, and having that example. And also, not only in addition to that example, I think consistently being told that whatever it is that you want to do, you've got to get after it. You got to get after it. There's no substitute for hard work. Hard work always pays. You know, those type of mantras over time.
Had no money, so I remember that. When I got cut from Canada, I had $7 in my pocket. And I always tell that story. So now my production company is $7, advertising agency is $7, everything is $7. So I always remember that. What helps me is to keep the hard times in the front of my mind, because it allows me to go into these big moments that I've worked my ass off, and you guys have worked your ass off. It allows me to go into these big moments with a different perspective.
I knew I wanted to be something, and it was important to me to be something. It was important to me that I didn't fail. But by the way, and if I did fail, at least what was also important was the lesson. And I didn't realize that until I got older, because you know, when you're in it, you're in the grind, you don't really recognize those things when you're younger, but I could recognize them now and the importance of them now. And just in terms of the drive and the determination, a lot of it was experience too. Get your ass kicked, get back up, and you put the gloves back on and you swing away.
I still see every opportunity that I have as like a little crack in the wall, a little scratch, and it's almost as if like every opportunity the scratch represents every opportunity. Therefore, the success on the other side of the scratch is the light. Scratching hard, clawing, digging, it's that mentality to really take advantage of every opportunity I have. And I remember laying there in the ring, and the referee said to me, don't listen to him, and it was crippling for me. But so then at that time, the powers that be thought, this isn't gonna work, and for whatever reason, people are not liking you and they're not connecting with you. And so in that moment, it was very defining, because I asked then if I could just be myself, and if I could go out there, and if I can speak to the crowd, and if I could just be myself and be authentic, and if I don't wanna smile, I don't smile. If I wanna laugh, I laugh. If I want to sing, I sing. Whatever it is, I just want to be me. Can I have that for 1 minute of live TV time? Powers that be at that time, Vince McMahon said, you got it. So on Raw, live TV, I grabbed a microphone and I said, I may be a lot of things, but sucks isn't one of them. And I said something to the effect of, basically, it's not a this thing, it's not a that thing, it's a me being myself thing. And before you know it, I guess the moral of the story is the importance and the power of finding your identity and being true to who you are. Even in that wild world of pro wrestling, it still applies to everyone in the room, and how powerful that could be, because it was a true shift and click moment, and I never looked back, and I became, fortunately, the biggest draw that the business has ever seen.
I do not believe that any of us have dreams that were not given to us for the purpose of accomplishing those particular dreams. And I want to share something with you that has changed my life. I started out, as was indicated by Jack, very humble beginnings. I don't know what that dream is that you have. I don't care how far-fetched it might appear to be. I don't care how disappointing it might have been as you've been working toward that dream. But here's what I know, that dream that you're holding in your mind, that it's possible. See, sometimes we can't say, I can do that. But what we can say, that it's possible that I can have my dream as we run toward it, as we work on it day in and day out. No one could have convinced me when I started out just over 6 years ago working on my dream. And I want you to think about whatever your dream is, because I was willing to take a chance. And most people won't do that. Most of the people that you talk to try and bring them into the business, these are not risk takers. Most people have done all that they're ever going to do. They raise a family, they earn a living, and then they die. But people who are running toward their dreams, life has a special kind of meaning. And here's what I will share with you, that in the process of working on your dreams, you are going to incur a lot of disappointment, a lot of failure, a lot of pain, a lot of setbacks, a lot of defeats. But in the process of doing that, you will discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. What you will realize is that you have greatness within you. What you'll realize is that you're more powerful than you can ever begin to imagine. What you will realize is that you're greater than your circumstances, that you don't have to go through life being a victim. What if all of us took that attitude after we face a rejection and a no, or we have a meeting and no one shows up, or somebody say, you can count on me, and they don't come through? What if we have that kind of attitude? The car's repossessed. Nobody believes in you. You've lost again and again and again. The lights are cut off, but you're still looking at your dream, reviewing it every day, and say to yourself, it's not over until I win. Life will yield to you. It's possible. I can live my dream. It's necessary. I work on myself, surround myself with winners, become creative. It's me. I've got to make it happen. It's not over until I win. The next thing that's important to know, yes, it's possible that you can choose your future and direct the course of your life as you run toward your dream. It's necessary that you have goals, that you write those goals down, that you plan, that you think constantly of how you can begin to improve what it is that you're doing. If it's your presentations, if it's your recruiting skills, whatever that is, it's also necessary that you look for ways to always find a way to pull it out when everybody else thinks that you're defeated. That you've got to take personal responsibility to know that in order to become successful, you've got to make it your personal business to do it. I want you to look at something right now. Think of some major goal you want, or maybe it's one you're already working on and you have experienced a lot of setbacks, a lot of defeats. You've experienced a lot of disappointment. Maybe you've already given up, and maybe you just need a little fire, a little encouragement to get back in the game again. Here's what I want you to look at. There are winners, there are losers, and there are people who have not discovered how to win. And all they need is some coaching. All they need is some help and assistance, just a little support. All they need is some insight or a different strategy, a plan of action to make some adjustments that will open up the key to a whole new future for them, that will give them access to the unlimited power that they have within themselves. That's all that they need. So what I want you to do is think about something you want for you, that's real for you, that's important for you, that will give your life some special meaning and power. And I don't even want you to say, I can do that. I don't want you to assume that. I don't want you to begin to just psych yourself out. No. I want you to be able to say something to yourself that will enable you to maintain a level of integrity with yourself. That when you say this, even when you face tremendous setbacks, it will be a benchmark to keep you in the game, to keep you moving forward and experimenting and readjusting your strategy and your plan of action, continuously looking for ways to win. So what is that something? When you got an idea you want to move on, you might not have the money, you might not have the education, you might not have the support or the resources you need. What is that something that can keep us going, that will enable us to act on our dream? What's one of those keys that will begin to help us to discover the secrets to our dream? Just say to yourself every day, it's possible. Just say that every day to yourself, it's possible. Because what does that do? See, it begins to change your belief system.
First of all, focus on it, right? I mean, I think like you basically get what you spend your time doing, right? I mean, I want the company to build 3 products this year, and we're going to work on a few others because people are interested in them, but those are the 3 things that I'm spending my product time on, right? You get what you put into it. If you spend a third of your time trying to make the people around you better through getting better people, mentoring, getting them to be better, getting the best people in your organization into more impactful roles, then I think over time that just accrues and you get a better organization. So many things go wrong when you're starting a company, and often I think people ask, what mistakes should you avoid making? And my answer to that question is don't even bother trying to avoid mistakes because you're going to make tons of mistakes, right? And the important thing is actually learning quickly from whatever mistakes you make and not giving up, right? And I mean, there are things every single year of Facebook's existence that could have killed us or made it so that it just seemed like moving forward and making a lot of progress just seemed intractable, but you just kind of bounce back and you learn, and nothing is impossible. You just have to kind of keep running through the walls. When you're starting something, it's just kind of hard. You need to be pretty headstrong about it, right? There are going to be all these challenges that come up, and I think the main thing that you need to do is just not give up, right? And kind of know what you want to do. And the best entrepreneurs who I've met don't really start companies because their goal is to build a company. They do it because they want to make a change in the world and help people. And I think if you kind of stay true to that, and if you just focus on kind of powering through no matter what the challenges are that will inevitably come up in your path, then you'll find that there are lots of tools that are available and a lot of people who will help you build what you're building. We've had this tradition for, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 years at the company, where every week we have a Q&A where our employees can come and ask me any question that they want about what's going on and what the direction of the company is, or questions or things that they read about in the press, or that their friends who use the product, what they're asking them. And it's been this really important tradition for us, both because we really believe in openness and communication, and that's kind of what Facebook is all about. But it's also really important for me and for running the company to be able to get feedback, right? And to be able to learn what's on people's minds, what our employees and folks who are part of our team are thinking about, and just kind of a lot of the time there are good questions that people ask that change the way that we think about what we're building and what we're here to do in the world, and that often make us go think and reevaluate how we should be approaching different problems. One definition that I have for a good team is a group of people that makes better decisions as a whole than would individually make as a sum of the parts. And I think most smart people like learning, right? And I mean, that's like one of the thrills of starting a company, right? Is the learning curve can be so steep. And if you can set up a team dynamic where you're constantly learning from the people around you, then I mean, what's better, right? It's like, these are the people I wake up every morning and I want to go learn from. And when building a team, you want to think about the dynamics, so that way you can maintain this property that the team makes better decisions as a group than any individual would. There's this inherent conflict in the system, though, which is, are we trying to optimize newsfeed to give each person, all of you guys, the best experience when you're reading? Or are we trying to help businesses just reach as many people as possible? And in every decision that we make, we optimize for the first, for making it so that for the people who we serve, who use Facebook and who are reading newsfeed, get the very best experience that they can. And that means that if a business is sharing content that's going to be useful for them, then we'll show that. But that means that if the business is sharing content that isn't going to be useful for them, we may not show that, because it's probably more important that they learn about their friend who had a baby and their baby is healthy.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Fall forward. This is what I mean. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. because the 1001st was the light bulb. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you've probably heard that before, but I want to talk to you about why that's so important. I got 3 reasons, and then you can pick up your iPhones. First, you will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. And I know that's probably not a traditional message for a graduation ceremony, but hey, I'm telling you, embrace it, because it's inevitable, and I should know. In the acting business, you fail all the time. Early on in my career, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. Perfect role for me, I thought, except for the fact that I can't sing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed, and I prayed, but I continued to fail, and fail, and fail. But it didn't matter, because you know what? There's an old saying, you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're gonna get a haircut. So you will catch a break. Do you have the guts to fail? Here's my second point about failure. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. You've invested a lot in your education, and people have invested in you. And let me tell you, the world needs your talents. Man, does it ever. The world needs a lot, and we need it from you. We really do. We need it from you young people. I mean, I'm not speaking for the rest of us up here, but I know I'm getting a little grayer. We need it from you, the young people, because remember this. So you got to get out there. You got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time, your talent, your prayers, or your treasures. Because remember this. You will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. I'll say it again. You'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. Now, I've been blessed to make hundreds of millions of dollars in my life. I can't take it with me, and neither can you. So it's not how much you have. It's what you do with what you have. What are you going to do with what you have? I'm not talking about how much you have. Some of you are business majors, some of you are theologians, nurses, sociologists. Some of you have money, some of you have patience, some of you have kindness, some of you have love. Some of you have the gift of long suffering, whatever it is, whatever your gift is. What are you going to do with what you have? All right, now here's my last point about failure. Sometimes it's the best way to figure out where you're going. Your life will never be a straight path.
You know, you're always affected by opinion, but the more opinions there are of you, the less I look at them, because I just can't live my life based upon what other people think about me. So I can't concern myself too much with what other people think. You know, it's just not healthy. I don't think I could continue to do what I do if I was constantly worrying about what somebody thought about it.
Listen, getting successful, whatever you consider successful, if it's rich, whatever, it's not a magic trick. It's not God picks certain people he'll make rich and certain people he don't. He gives all of us as his children the power of choice. You have a say-so in that. You can decide to be rich, and with God's help, it's highly doable. But you first have to think it. The difference between successful people and non-successful people is here. I'm no better than none of y'all. I'm not a better person than you. I'm not a better Christian than you. God don't love me more than you. None of that. If you want to be successful, you have to change this. This has to change. Listen to me. It's not what makes it hard is your lack of belief that it can happen for you. The fact of it is, though, it's very doable. See, but you got to change, though. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So if you're at a place in your life and you ain't happy with it, you have to change some things. But you have to make a conscientious decision that you're going to change. And it's not dependent on anybody else. It don't matter what your mama think. It don't matter what your coworkers think. It don't matter what your siblings think. It don't matter what your children think. It don't matter. They have nothing to do with it. This decision is yours and yours alone. It's 2 people born in a hospital every day. It's a person that's born in the hospital that's gonna get a job, and somebody born in the hospital that's gonna give them a job. You get to decide which one you're gonna be. Money's not everything, it's really not. And money can't make you happy. Money don't make you happy. I know a lot of miserable people with money. It's not money that makes you happy. It don't. It don't make you happy, but it'll park you right in front of Happy's house. And you can at least see if the stay there. I recommend money. I highly recommend it. And anybody that told you that money, different about money, is because they don't have none. But you gotta quit listening to people that ain't got money tell you about money. Money the root of all evil and all that shit. You do evil stuff with money, but if you're a good person, you can do good stuff with money. You know, people say that money changes people. It really doesn't. You know what I learned about money? Money don't change people. Money allows you to be more of who you really are. See, if you're a kind person, when you get a lot of money, you become a kinder person. If you're an asshole, when you get a lot of money, you become a big asshole. It's money, it allows you to amplify whoever you really are. That's why when you see rich people acting like assholes, it's because they always been one. They always been asshole. They just ain't had the money to flex on to show it to you. That's all it is. But you let their get some money, they finna show your something. And that's it. If you see a person that's cool with money, it's because he always been cool. I want to reiterate, though, I'm just a motivational speaker. That's what I am. You know, Bishop has inspired me and it's really helped me understand my walk. You know, I'm nothing no more than you. You know, my job has been exceptional, though. I've been very blessed in that I've lived a life. God has enabled me to pursue my passion and tied it to my gift. I'm gifted at comedy and I've been able to pursue it. So I wake up every day and for a living, I play music and tell jokes. How big of a blessing is that? But you know, people, they look at that, but see, you lose sight of the fact that I'm 54 though. And you don't know the fact that I've been doing this 27 years in order to get to the point where I can wake up and play music and tell jokes for a living. It's like my guest, Tim Gannon, who explained the fact that he wanted to play polo. He didn't buy a pony till he was 40. He saw the first race at 16, the first match at 16. He didn't get that till he was 40. But so people look at him as the owner of the Outback Steakhouse and they go, wow, but they have no idea the journey and the stress.